Nobody tells you this part. They tell you to work hard. They tell you to stay positive. They tell you to believe in yourself. But they never tell you how lonely winning actually feels. Because the moment you decide to focus on you, people start acting weird. They call you selfish. They say you've changed. They say you think you're better than them. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You don't lose people when you focus on yourself. You lose distractions. And distractions are expensive. Right now, your biggest enemy is not failure. It's not lack of talent. It's not bad luck. Your biggest enemy is divided focus. You're giving energy to people who don't give it back. You're listening to opinions from people who've never built anything. You're explaining your dreams to people who already quit on theirs. That's why nothing feels like it's moving. Because winners don't explain. They execute. Let me say this clean and clear. If you want to win, you have to disappear for a while. Not forever. Just long enough to become undeniable. See, focus isn't about doing more things. It's about doing less, better. Most people wake up and immediately lose the day. They grab their phone. They scroll. They compare. They consume. By the time they start working, their mind is already exhausted. Winners do the opposite. They protect their mornings like gold. They protect their attention like money. They protect their energy like their life depends on it. Because it does. You don't need motivation. You need structure. You don't need more advice. You need discipline. And discipline isn't loud. It's quiet, boring, repetitive. It's choosing the gym when nobody's watching. It's working on your craft when nobody's clapping. It's staying consistent even when results feel invisible. That's the hard part, because the world celebrates outcomes, but it ignores preparation. And preparation is lonely. Let's be real. Most people want success, but they don't want the isolation that comes with it. They want the results, but they still want everyone's approval. That's impossible. You can't build a new life while holding on to old habits and old circles. At some point, you have to ask yourself, do I want to fit in or do I want to win? Because winning has a cost. It costs late nights. It costs early mornings. It costs missed parties. It costs being misunderstood. But losing costs more. It costs regret. It costs potential. It costs the version of you that could have been unstoppable. Focus means saying no a lot. No to distractions. No to drama. No to conversations that go nowhere. No to comfort. And yes, it feels uncomfortable at first. Your mind will fight you. Your old habits will pull you back. People will test you. That's how you know you're on the right path. Growth feels like pressure. Before it feels like freedom. And freedom comes later. Right now, your job is simple. Wake up. Lock in. Do the work. Repeat. No announcement. No validation. No shortcuts. Stop waiting to feel ready. Ready is a lie. You become ready by starting. You don't focus on yourself because you hate others. You focus on yourself because you respect your future. Because one day you're going to look back at this season and realize it changed everything. The nights you felt tired. The days you felt alone. The moments you wanted to quit but didn't. Those moments build winners. And listen closely. Not everyone is supposed to understand your journey. Some people are only meant to watch the results. So let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them sleep while you work. Because success doesn't come from hype. It comes from habits. And habits compound. One focus day turns into a week. A week turns into a month. A month turns into a new identity. At some point people will ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile. Because they didn't see the nights you stayed locked in. They didn't see the sacrifices. They didn't see the self-control. They just see the win. And that's fine. You didn't focus on yourself to prove anything to them. You focused on yourself. Because you were done betraying your own potential. So stay focused. Stay patient. Stay disciplined. Cut the noise. Trust the process. And don't stop until you win. Let's get something straight. If you're still here listening, it means you're already different. Most people quit mentally, long before they quit physically. They give up when it gets quiet. They give up when nobody notices. They give up when effort doesn't immediately turn into applause. But this phase right here? This is where real separation happens. Because when motivation fades, focus decides who survives. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your habits. That's why focusing on yourself isn't about hype. It's about systems. Winners don't rely on feelings. They rely on routines. They show up even when they're tired. They show up even when they're bored. They show up even when nothing exciting is happening. Especially then. Because boredom is the gatekeeper. Most people can grind when they're inspired. Almost nobody can grind when it feels pointless. And that's why almost nobody wins. See, distraction doesn't look dangerous. It looks harmless. One more scroll. One more episode. One more conversation that adds no value. But those minutes stack up. Those hours disappear. And one day you wake up wondering why your life didn't change. Focus means you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop saying, I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll take it seriously next week. You start now. Messy. Imperfect. Uncomfortable. Because progress doesn't care about perfection. Your future self is watching you right now. Not judging you. Not yelling at you. Just waiting. Waiting to see if you finally choose discipline over excuses. And listen, this isn't about becoming cold or heartless. It's about becoming selective. Selective with your time. Selective with your energy. Selective with who gets access to you. You don't owe everyone explanations. You don't owe everyone your availability. You don't owe everyone a seat in your future. Some people are seasonal. They were there for comfort, not for growth. And that's okay. Growth requires space. And space feels empty before it feels powerful. This is where self-trust is built. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Not the loud confidence. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't need approval. The kind that doesn't panic when things go wrong. The kind that stays calm under pressure. That confidence comes from evidence. From showing up again. And again. And again. Even when nobody is clapping. Especially when nobody is clapping. Because applause is addictive. But consistency is what pays. Right now, you might feel behind. Like you wasted time. Like you should be further along. Let that go. Guilt is heavy. Focus is light. You don't win by regretting yesterday. You win by dominating today. 1 focused hour a day beats 10 distracted hours. 1 disciplined choice beats 1,000 good intentions. And here's the crazy part. Once you truly lock in, life starts moving faster. Opportunities show up. Confidence sharpens. Your standards rise. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped leaking energy. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped living for reaction. You became dangerous, in a good way. Quietly consistent. Mentally tough. Emotionally controlled. And people feel that. They might not say it, but they notice. And soon, the same people who doubted you will be watching you closely. Not because they believe in you, but because they're confused. They don't recognize you anymore. But that means you're evolving. So keep your head down. Keep your standards high. Keep your focus sharp. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right on time. For the version of you that doesn't quit. This isn't your peak. This is your foundation. And foundations aren't flashy. They're strong. So stay locked in. Stay patient. Stay relentless. And remember, you're not focusing on yourself to escape life. You're focusing on yourself to win at it. This is where most people break. Not because it's too hard, but because it's too quiet. No praise. No instant results. No one checking on you. Just you and the work. And that silence? That's the test. Because when nobody's watching, your true character shows up. Anyone can look motivated on social media. Anyone can talk big in public. But discipline is what you do when there's no audience. That's why focusing on yourself feels uncomfortable at first. Your old identity fights back. The version of you that loved comfort doesn't want to die quietly. It whispers, "Relax a little. You deserve a break. Just this once won't hurt." And sometimes that voice sounds reasonable. But here's the truth. That voice has cost you years. Every time you listen to it, you stayed the same. So now, you do something different. You stop trusting feelings and start trusting standards. You don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" Is this who I said I wanted to become? Because winners move on principle, not on mood. And principles don't negotiate. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. Extreme burns out. Consistent builds empires. One workout at a time. One focused session at a time. One disciplined decision at a time. That's how identity changes. Not overnight, but permanently. Let's talk about self-control. Self-control isn't about restriction. It's about direction. You don't say no to everything. You say no to what pulls you away from what matters. And that clarity is powerful. Because once you know what you want, distractions lose their grip. Drama stops entertaining you. Small talk stops satisfying you. Short-term pleasure stops tempting you. Your standards rise. And when your standards rise, your circle changes. Not because you're better, but because you're different. Focused people move differently. They listen more. They speak less. They act faster. They don't rush success. They build it. And here's something important. You're allowed to outgrow people. You're allowed to choose growth over familiarity. Staying loyal to old versions of yourself is the fastest way to stay stuck. So if you feel disconnected lately, that's not a problem. That's progress. Growth creates distance before it creates results. Right now, you're in the invisible phase. The phase where effort doesn't show yet. The phase where faith is required. The phase where quitting feels logical. But this phase is temporary. Quitting makes it permanent. So you keep showing up, even on bad days. Especially on bad days. Because bad days don't stop disciplined people. They train them. And one day, sooner than you think, something clicks. Your confidence isn't forced anymore. Your focus feels natural. Your habits feel automatic. You're no longer fighting yourself. You became aligned. And alignment is dangerous. Because when mind, habits, and goals move in the same direction, nothing feels heavy anymore. You're not chasing success. You're attracting it. People will call it luck. They'll say you got lucky. Let them. Luck looks a lot like years of quiet focus. So don't rush the process. Don't announce the moves. Don't seek validation. Build silently. Stay locked in. Because the version of you that's coming next doesn't beg for attention, doesn't explain their grind, doesn't apologize for growth. They just win. And when they do, everyone understands.